Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Kesgrave Panthers Podcast. Our special guest today is Matt Parr. How are you feeling today, Matt?
Absolutely fine. Thanks very much, Noah. I have been out my bike this morning, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So we'll start off first. This is the first ever one. So every podcast will introduce with the first three questions. And the first one being, how did you get into cycle speedway, Matt?
We first got into cycle speedway. It's quite a while back now, but we just saw the track over at Kesgrave and decided to go and have a look. And we turned up on the very first night, and with Charlie, who was pretty young at the time, and it happened to be Club Champs night, so we just chucked him in. He happened to have his first meeting was a race meeting, and we haven't really looked back since.
Interesting.
So when did you start cycle speedway?
Blimey, it must have been when you, Charlie, were 6 years old, 6 or 7. I think it was 2014.
Oh dear. Yeah, it was 2014. It's going well.
This is starting strong.
But you went in there, and I think the first meeting that you had as well, or the first time we tried it, you went down and had a bike with gears and also brakes. So pretty decent.
Yeah. So we know you started Kesgrave, but where did you ride your first proper meeting? Was it like a Club Champs meeting or something else?
Me personally, I rode my first cycle speedway one. I think it was in Norwich actually. That was me when I actually jumped on a bike and had a bit of a go. But my my thing was that I used to ride my bikes down hills. Growing up in North Wales, we had lots of hills and stuff, and I would ride in something called the Dragon Downhill Series, which was just all around Wales. So my meetings and things when I very first started racing bikes were over in Wales. But I think that my first speedway one was Norwich, and I think that Charlie's first one was that Club Champs over at Kesgrave.
Yeah. So
do you have a favourite track?
Yeah, I do actually. Over lockdown and things, with all the tracks being closed and stuff, Heatherset actually said that we could have a little bit of a blast round on their bikes, and I bought a new bike up in Norwich, and I travelled up to Heatherset. I chucked the speedway bike in the back of the car, and I actually had a bit of a blast round, and I couldn't believe how amazing the track is at Heatherset. It just looked all wrong. I kind of thought, wow, a really thin centre green, really tight corners and stuff, but actually riding the track, I found it absolutely phenomenal. I loved the way that you could ping into the corners really, really tight and still make it out the other side, and also you could ping it in really wide, and then there was just loads of lines and stuff that you could take into all the corners. So I think that my favourite track I've ridden, although I've never raced it, is definitely Heatherset. It just it was completely different to my expectation.
Yeah. On the complete opposite of that, do you have any least favourite tracks?
Oh, wow. Okay, least favourite tracks. I am going to say that all the tracks are really, really quite technical. And I don't think I have a least favourite track. I just think that because the tracks are so different in their kind of in the way that you ride them and things, that actually I really quite like that. So I like the fact that they're all different or they're all difficult. So I don't think I've got a least favourite track. I think there are a few tracks which I've performed particularly bad. Well, most of the tracks I ride on, I perform particularly badly on, but I think there's a few that I've maybe kind of not done particularly well at. Say, for example, if I ride the Ipswich track, I know that I normally ride against riders who are about 90 million times better than me. So actually, I always feel like I'm nowhere near anybody at Ipswich. It's so big and I haven't really got very much speed. So I always find that one quite tough. I think that there's, when we ride, say like Somersham, sometimes it's quite tricky to kind of to get around Somersham, but I like the fact that they're all different and they're all quite technical and things, just because it's kind of the same for everybody, and then it's quite fair. Even the fact that East London has got like a little jump into the first corner, absolutely love that you kind of go and you're unsettled and you're bouncing around a little bit. So I wouldn't say that I've got a least favorite track. I actually quite like the fact that they're all so different.
Oh, okay.
What is your biggest inspiration for Speedway?
The thing that makes me put my time into Speedway, I suppose, is all of the members, I suppose, at the club. Everything that I do really is for the benefit of, I'd say mainly the juniors and things at the club, but also the seniors. So I think that the inspiration just comes from you lot that kind of do things like this, and you make it around the track and make me look rubbish, and you're just enthusiastic about everything that you do. So I'd say the inspiration kind of comes from that. But I'd say that there are top riders. Whenever I see kind of top level sports, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. The people that do it, the commitment that they make, and that their kind of drive and determination is pretty phenomenal. So, a few years ago when Cody Chadwick was in the UK blasting round, I found that absolutely phenomenal. It was amazing. People like Zach Payne, when he won the British Champs as a relatively a young man, that was pretty decent. Mike Grimes over at Coventry and what he does in the Coventry League of things. There's loads of people that kind of inspire me to do stuff, but I think it's mainly the youngsters at Kesgrave that make me kind of participate in the sport.
All right. So then, do you have like a favorite ever bike that you've ever ridden? Doesn't have to be Cycle Speedway, like one from when you were tiny or something.
I do actually. I've got I'm not sure that many people that know it, but in my garage I've got well over 50 bikes. But the one that I kind of I'm really disappointed that I don't still own is a bike that was bought for me by Father Christmas, and Father Christmas dropped it off in my bedroom. So I woke up with it kind of at the end of my bed in North Wales when I was, I don't know, maybe about 6 to 8 years old. I can't quite remember. But he dropped off for me a Rally Burner, a BMX bike, and it had awesome kind of like white spoked wheels, and it had the full like team colors on it. And I just absolutely loved that bike to bits. And I honestly don't know where it went or who had it after me or anything. But I think it was my first new bike. And hats off to Father Christmas for picking such an amazing bike. So I really wish that I still had that one, because I've got so many other ones from my youth that I used to race around. But I'm a bit disappointed I don't still own that one.
So what's the biggest event you've ever ridden at?
The biggest cycling event that I've ridden at, I suppose, is the British Championships, the indoor in Coventry. That was amazing to just to participate in, just to line up on the start line against some of those phenomenal riders that I'm never going to get anywhere near, and then managing to score a few points along the way. I think that I got a few extra points just because of a few exclusions and things, which I wasn't going to say no to. I think that that's probably the biggest event that I've ridden in, or the most prestige. But some of the downhill events and things that I rode in as a youngster had a lot more riders, but they didn't have that prestige associated with it. And I really felt that when I rode in the British Indoor Champs, and it kind of it motivated me to ride more in 2020, although I didn't get to do it. So I'm going to try my hand at a few extra things just on the back of that I just really enjoyed it. And hopefully we can do the Europeans this year. And I know that I'm still in the senior category. I'm not quite in the vets yet. So I don't really have too many aspirations of how I'm going to do, but I'm certainly going to have a bit of a go. And then also thinking about possibly the European Club Championships over in Poland in September as well, if we can do that too. Although I do need a few extra riders, Noah and Charlie, to support me in my team. Although I can't recruit too many people because then I won't get in the team.
Oh, all right. So I reckon at this point we'll probably go into our quick fire round. We'll ask you about 10 to 15 questions. see how that goes. All right, so we'll start off with, what's your favourite sports brand?
Wow, sports brand. I'm going to go for, I like Adidas or Adidas, depends on where you are in the country. But yeah, I've always liked those. But I'm a squash player, so I'm also going to say that I like the Asics as well. So yeah, go for those.
What is your favourite mode of transport?
There's only one option for that. It's got to be a bike. I think. I try and ride everywhere that I go, and if I can't ride, then it means that I need to take too many bikes, so I'll be in my van.
Yeah. So what is your favourite sports team, excluding Kesgrave Panthers, because that's got to be top?
Could I go for the Kesgrave Pumas, our second team? My other teams, I suppose, I support. I'm going to go for the country. I'm going to go for Wales. Anything they do, I've got to support Wales. Although I'm one of these supporters that just can't watch. I can't watch Wales. I get too nervous and things. So I remember when Wales were in the semi-final and, in fact, the quarter-final of the European Championships against Belgium, and I think Charlie was watching it, and I was in the garage just finding anything to do, so I just couldn't watch it. And Charlie called me in every time that Wales scored, which was amazing. But yeah, it's got to be Wales, but I can't watch them.
Yeah.
So if you could win an Olympic medal for any discipline, real or fake, what would it be?
I am going to say, because I have been involved in squash my entire life, that it would definitely be squash. I would love to see squash as an Olympic sport. I know it's not, and it would be the pinnacle of the sport. There's so many sports in the Olympics where it's not the pinnacle of the sport. Say, for example, I'm just going to pick one, like, for example, golf, or tennis, whatever. It isn't the be all and end all of the sport. But if squash was an Olympic sport, then it would be the highest kind of like ranking tournament. And yeah, I'd love to win it.
Wow. What is your biggest fear?
Whoa, my biggest fear is that Charlie at home will eat all of the food in the house before I get a chance to. Just eat everything. So my biggest fear, I think it's got to be that we run out of food or something.
Oh, fair enough.
What's the country that you'd most like to go on holiday to?
Ooh. Excluding Wales, obviously, because it's got some amazing hills to ride down. I think that I would love to go to Canada. I'd love to go to Canada because of the climate. It's a bit colder. Hopefully will be. And also I'd love to go and visit the Whistler mountain bike park and stuff, and go and send it off some big stuff. Possibly go and visit some of the hospitals as well at the same time. But yeah, I'd like to go and visit Canada. I kind of think that if I'm going to go anywhere on holiday, I'd probably go north from wherever we are, just to make it a bit colder. Just I don't really cope with the heat very well. Although I think that the rest of my family would probably go south, just because they try and seek out the sun. But I'm kind of like the complete opposite. It doesn't do very good for my head. I just burn my head, so I can't go and find the sun.
So what is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Weirdest thing I've ever eaten is gonna be a crocodile burger. I was in Kenya. That was so hot. It was ridiculous. It was like, I couldn't cope with it very well. But yeah, I was in Kenya over Christmas one year, and for my Christmas lunch, I had a crocodile burger. Pretty awesome. But that's going to be one of the weirdest things that we eat. Although my youngest Tom told me off around about 15 minutes or so ago because I ate something from down the back of the sofa that I found. Yes, but I'm fine. It's okay. I reckon I'll be able to make it.
Okay. Leading on from that, what was the last thing you've eaten?
Well, the last thing that I ate was a piece of dried banana I found down the back of the sofa.
Oh.
It tasted pretty good, actually, although Tom warned me that I might die if I ate it.
What is your favourite song?
Ooh, favourite song Blimey. I quite like quite a lot of kind of like 90s music and things. So I quite like KLF, Justified and Ancient, although I'm not quite sure that you guys will know what that is. And if I kind of said that we were all bound for Moo Moo Lands, I'm not sure that you'd know it. But I quite like things like Orbital. I love Orbital and Halon. I love that song. Yeah, I don't really have a favorite one. I'll kind of listen to pretty much anything. I'm not too into kind of like rap music, not very much R&B, but I quite like pretty much anything else. I can hear Tom in the background now. Yeah, but honestly, I don't mind any music really. I'll listen to anything.
Oh.
Do you have a favorite animal?
Yeah, I do. I'll go for a cheetah. I quite like a cheetah. I just always found them quite fascinating. The fact that they're so fast, and they just look so graceful when they're running. Probably the opposite of me on a bike, really.
So yeah, that's the end of our quick fire round. We'll go back into a couple more questions, see how far we get. So start off with, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
The best advice I've been given is never to pass up an opportunity. If somebody says, would you like to do this, then just do it. There's no point in thinking about it, really. If someone gives you a chance to, go on a track, go on a track. If someone gives you a chance to participate in another sport, go and do that. If you've got a chance to complete some training in something, just go and do it. And I remember that kind of paid off a little bit when I was younger. I was maybe probably about 14 to 16, something like that. And somebody said, do you want to go out and do a powerboat course? I was like, no idea really what that meant, but it meant I got to spend the weekend in like a speedboat type thing. And then funnily enough, I then started to use that when I was 19. I became a lifeguard on the beach in North Wales, and I was pretty much the only person who had my powerboat qualification. I was able to drive the boat around and stuff, which was pretty awesome. So it just kind of goes to show that you can, just go for it. Just do everything that you possibly can, and at some point you might use that just in the future. Yeah, don't miss an opportunity. Hi, Marianne. That's our club secretary just poking her head in through the door. Well done, Noah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What
is your favorite pre-meeting meal?
Ooh, I love food. I'll pretty much eat anything. I'll eat anything. And if somebody else cooks it, then definitely I'll eat that. But I think the one thing that I pretty much live on, or try to live on, is sausages, pasta, and broccoli. Absolutely love that as a meal. Just whop it all in the same pan. Don't bother with a plate. Just in it goes. Grill the sausages, boil up everything else, put a bit of sauce on top, and I've got a lovely, lovely meal. I pretty much got through university on that combination. It was good.
Yeah. So who would you say is like your favorite team riding partner, or who would you like to team ride with the most?
I am gonna pull in on that one, apart from yourselves, obviously, but you guys need a better partner than me. I'm gonna go with Steve Hammond. Just because we have a bit of a chat in the pits beforehand. We come up with an elaborate plan to make us like world beaters. We put one pedal stroke in and realise it's gone completely out the window and that everyone else is in the distance, and then we ride around together for 4 laps. So I think my favourite team riding part has got to be Steve. There's no kind of pressure on ourselves. We always come up with, the greatest plan that's definitely going to win up until the tapes go up. So I'll go Steve. There's loads of people that we could say that I'd like to ride with, but probably me mate Steve.
What is your most memorable Speedway moment?
I think that one's got to be the club championships. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It might have been 2018, where the under 10s. The Kesgrave under 10s won the British club, and the under 12s, which you were.
2017, wasn't it?
Was it 17 or was it? It might have been 18. I can't remember. Anyway, It was at Kesgrave, and you all performed amazingly well. I couldn't believe the races and things that you did. A couple of memorable things from that were obviously Lily, my daughter. She rode really well. I remember Luca absolutely destroying himself over the start-finish line. I think on maybe like lap 2 of one of his races, and he kind of just ruined himself. I remember Noah, your unbelievable pass on that very, very first race that set the tone. I had a bit of a chat with you guys beforehand, sat you all down and said that you can't win it in one race, but you can lose it. So don't do anything silly. And then boom, first race, no, you threw it underneath the pool rider. And I, against my advice, but what do I know? And then Charlie as well, you scoring 14 points on the day was just phenomenal. So I was just that's got to be my most memorable moment. I didn't set a foot on a bike, but you were all just awesome, and I thank you for that.
I think that was about 2018, but yeah, it was a good day. That was. Yeah, I think that's quite a substantial amount we've got through today. So I think that's it for the first ever episode of the Kesgrave Panthers Podcast. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Noah.
Yes. So yeah, we'll see you in a couple. We'll see another guest in a couple of weeks, and we'll be back. Thank you for watching or listening. Yeah.
Thank you.